Dear friends in Dhamma, we are going to start the first Dhamma discussion. So we have received 4-5 questions. So we start the session with written questions.
Avasara Bhante, this is a very detailed, long report. He has written walking and sitting separately, so I will first read walking.
Fine.
Avasarai Bhante, walking meditation, session number 1. I first found an appropriate walking path in the sand path. I firmly planted my feet and began walking to get familiar with the path. After few times of going back and forth, I stood at one point and brought my attention to the feet. I felt the pricking sand beneath my feet, along with the wind blowing towards me, and heard the animals making noises. I then began walking and noting my left and right feet as it happened. I felt the weight of my leg shifting from one leg to the other. My body moved slightly more deeper when it is my right foot because it's a few centimeters shorter. As I was doing this, it became extremely difficult to place mindfulness on my feet because my thoughts were very loud. I tried my best to ignore them, but it felt like trying to concentrate when your mind is on fire. I tried my best to continue until the time was up. Once time came, I proceeded to my sitting session. Session 2. After my sitting session, I went back to doing a walking session. This time my mind was made more clearer and I was able to do the meditation better in the beginning. As I was noting my foot, it felt like my mind was an autopilot when I was mindful about the sand and feelings, but also was aware that I am walking towards the end. Also I was aware that I am walking. Towards the end, my thoughts got louder and it began distracting me again.
So I think this is quite normal. Because usually the walking is somewhat difficult at the beginning, somewhat challenging because there are many yogis outside around you, and again you have to walk intentionally, and you can see things, you can hear things. So these are in a way at the beginning appear like certain obstacles, some challenges in your path. But slowly being able to pay attention even amidst all these challenges are there, so that is the success. So don't think that this is a kind of a burden, or I always have to come to the sitting session, need to close my eyes, sit to cross-legged. So it is not the situation. That we need to slowly come to a situation where various challenges are there, various distractions are there. Amidst all them, is it possible for me to keep my attention on the necessary or required place? So that is very important. So I think what you have mentioned is quite acceptable. But don't worry, I mean, if you are able to recognize at least several steps, maybe 5 steps at a stretch, next time try to do it maybe 6 steps. So that's all you need to do. Don't think about very high goals. Simply, if you can do just 5 steps continuously, then try to maintain that and try to increase that to 6 steps, maybe to 7 steps. So likewise, it's a matter of improving it. And then slowly you may gain the you may learn the art of doing that, and slowly you start being capable of doing that. Don't worry about, these thoughts are, you can't fight with them right now. For the time being, your duty is as much as possible associate the body, and particularly below the knees. So what are the sensations available below the knees, particularly in the soles? So that is where as much as possible your attention should be. Don't worry about the thoughts. They may come. Don't worry. You don't need to fight. You don't need to think that these are not stopped. They are ever coming. You don't need to think like that. It may even discourage you. Rather, more attention you are paying to your body, paying to your souls. So that will slowly, ultimately weaken all the thoughts. And you may even come to a situation, now there are no thoughts even. With a completely silent mind, you are walking. So likewise, things are changing. So, just continue the path, just the practice, and then you will be successful.
Sitting session. My sitting session began with me scanning my body and noting that I am sitting. I shifted my focus to the breath. I felt the breath was already very soft. As I looked at it, I felt the inhalation and exhalation because the air was touching a certain part inside my nose. As I was paying attention, I felt the breath was rough during inhale and soft during exhale. I also noticed a gap between inhaling and exhaling. As I was paying attention, the breath get slower and softer until I stopped feeling the breath altogether. After a few seconds, my body became very agitated and moving back and forth. It felt like I was trying to grasp for air. In these times, I would try to hold on to the extremely soft breath which I can feel very slightly. After a few minutes, my body gave a large exhale and I could feel my breath again. I was feeling distracted after this but pushed on. My question to Bhante is, should I try focusing on the soft breath or should I change to a different object?
No, not at all. I mean, you should never change to a different object at that level. So it is, I mean, how you are refining yourself, how you are sharpening your mindfulness, sharpening your concentration is by going through these changes. So, I mean, at the beginning you may get some sort of a rough object, fairly easy to keep your attention. But as you are improving, so the breath becomes soft or breath becomes subtle. So now it's your challenge or your ability to keep onto this soft or subtle breath. So at that moment, don't jump to a new object. Now further, as you are continuing, now you gain the ability. Now even with the subtle breath, you can maintain your attention, your mindfulness, and even it becomes subtler. And even with that, you need to maintain your attention without getting distracted. So many challenges are there in this area. Say for example, while the breath becomes subtler and subtler, so you might even lose it. And you can't maintain your attention there, you can get completely distracted. So this is one challenge. The other challenge is you can easily fall asleep because object is not that rough enough for you to pay enough attention. So as a result of that, you can fall asleep. So this is another challenge. And as you are suggesting here, you can even jump to a new object. So that is also wrong. So your duty is to as much as possible continue with this getting the soft object. So ultimately even it can disappear. Now there is nothing, no object to keep your attention, but it is your duty to keep your attention at that place where it was. And this is the time which is called Samadhi Indriya. Probably you can remember last time we discussed Apana Sutta. The Apana Sutta, Venerable Sariputta is defining each and every Indriya, each and every faculty. So what is virya, the effort faculty? What is the faculty of mindfulness? What is the faculty of concentration? What is the faculty of wisdom? And what is the faculty of saddha, the faith? So how he defines the faculty of samadhi is not that you are simply keeping your attention on a gross object. That is not the situation. I mean, that can be done by someone who is simply starting the situation and he is basically that we can simply say pay attention. But you need to go further and further. Even you are able to maintain your attention on a very soft object, subtle object, subtlest object, and that object also disappear. Even that time you can't fall asleep, you can't change the object, you can't distract it. Then you can maintain your attention where it was without getting distracted, even though you have nothing to observe. It's very interesting. So therefore, please don't change the object. Just continue your attention. Slowly, you will get this skill. Yeah.
If this yogi wants to verify anything, you may raise your hand.
Yes, please. Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, Bhante. So during this, that sort of when I'm paying attention and like, what am I supposed to do about the body being very agitated and
I feel that it may slowly recover. So because thing is that once you lose your attention to this subtle object, so now all the you get distracted. Your the collected mind is not available for you anymore. So again, all the different pains and aches available in the body are known to you. Now everything get collapsed. You have to start again. So don't worry. I mean, this is the way we are going through. So slowly you will be able to maintain that continuously without rolling back to the beginning. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Report number 2. This also has 2 parts. Most Venerable Bhante, walking meditation. I could concentrate well on foot sensation while walking on sand bed as well as on choir mat and then on the tile floor. While walking on sand bed, I felt roughness of the sand and occasionally more rigidness when walking on small stones, and also the floor was cool. At a small stretch, I felt the warmth of the sun. When walking on choir mat, I felt roughness, and on the tile floor it was smooth and cool. I could concentrate quite a long length of time continuously. Please advise me how to improve on this.
No, I mean, basically, this is quite evident. Now, depending on the surface, depending on the contact, your sensation vary. So, that is one simple principle. Passa pacca vedana. Depending on the contact, your resultant feelings are different. If you are simply touching a soft area, then a soft sensation we can say. If you are simply touching a rough area, then it could be a rough sensation, kind of a rough feeling, maybe even uncomfortable. So like that. So, but anyway, having such variation is also a good idea, because rather than getting bored every time, you can try different textures so that you get some kind of a variation, but try to maintain mindfulness at all different situations. How about maintaining mindfulness when you are walking on the, say, on the tile floor? How about when you are trying on the choir mat? How when you are trying on the, say, sand path? So all the different experiments for you to more and more paying attention, and you may find out very interesting, say, results. Actually, I can remember when I was doing, I found that sometimes when I am, walking on the tile floor, I have to maintain a very much like a very precise mindfulness. Otherwise, I get easily distracted, because the sensation is somewhat soft, or it's not a gross sensation. But maybe in the choir mat, it is difficult. So some gross sensation is there. You can easily maintain your attention. But maybe on a soft surface, you have to be fairly careful, and it gives you a lot of ability to refine your attention. So you are not getting distracted, the flow is fairly even, and the sensations are very soft, and your attention can be really sharpened. Your mindfulness can be really sharpened. So therefore, try various surfaces, and you can experiment yourself and how these different surfaces can be used to further refine your attention, further refine your mindfulness, and what are the obstacles available. And it doesn't mean that the rough areas or rough surfaces are never be used. That's also possible to use, and it has even health benefits, you know that. So it is, what's that? Reflexology. It's kind of a reflexology is there with that. So you can get a kind of foot massage. It's happening free of charge. So take that also. Right.
Sitting meditation. Usually it is very difficult for me to do sitting meditation for a long time because I get aches and pains, especially at the back. But today I could concentrate rising and falling of the upper diaphragm continuously for about 10 to 15 minutes and got other thoughts, but could concentrate back on rising and falling again soon. Could you please advise me how to improve this up to Vipassana with metta?
Yeah, it will naturally happen. So don't try to jump to a new state. Rather allow this rising and falling to gradually evolve. Say for example, see whether you are able to maintain your attention for continuously for say 50 rising and fallings, maybe 70 rising and falling. So likewise, just improve that so that you are fairly confident. Now next time when I am sitting, okay, I can confidently say I can maintain attention on risings and fallings continuously for 50 without any problem. So that kind of a confidence is very good. And at that time, now it is for you to investigate what are the further information available in this each rising, what are the details available in each falling. So that recognition of those subtle details is your next step. I mean, you can try doing both, but sometimes difficult, because without much concentration, it is difficult for you to extract all these subtle details. But once you have a fairly consistent attention, concentration placed on the particular object for a longer period of time, you can easily grab this information. So what we call as clear comprehension or sampajanya is possible when you have a very good mindfulness. Well, very good mindfulness is already established. Supatichita sati. So the well-established mindfulness is a kind of a prerequisite for you to recognize all these subtle details. So you can start doing that once you are confident that, okay, I can maintain my attention, concentration for a long period of time, now onto these risings and fallings. Now you can see whether what are the further details available here. I am able to, say, pay attention to risings and fallings, true, but what else are there? What are the gaps? Is it continuous, or is it between rising and falling? Is there a gap? From falling to rising, is there a gap? And how the beginning of rising, how the middle of rising, how the end of rising, are they feeling the same? Are you feeling that the intensity of that sensation, is it the same? So likewise, you are doing a further very refined examination onto each and every rising and falling. Then you are slowly penetrating this object, recognizing more and more details. Yeah.
Report number 3, Venerable Sir. I find it difficult to sleep in the night if I have an offering of alms or to attend a retreat. As a result, I feel so sleepy at retreats. Is there a way I can train my mind to relax and have a good night rest at times like that? Thank you, Bhante, with much merits. Thero Nissarana.
May I know who has written it? Because usually the retreat environment is a good environment for you to rest, but not the, say, maybe the dana kind of alms giving occasion where people get more, more occupied with various things, that you have to prepare food, offer food and all that, this and this are there. So you are fairly involved in it, and as a result of that, you might not be able to, it depends. I mean, you can't say everyone have the same experience, but if you are becoming more excited about it, and then maybe it may little disturb you. But the retreat environment is very different, where you are gaining fair amount of rest to your mind. So since you already have fair amount of rest in your mind, so the same number of hours might not be required for you during the night. So that is also possible. Because even the daytime, you are in the retreat and your mind is fairly relaxed. You don't have to attend to various, say, duties at your home. You are not thinking about the future. You are not thinking about the past. You are not thinking about the election. You are not thinking about the presidential election. You are not thinking about the Ukraine war. You are not thinking about the Gaza. Many things are there. No? Now you are not thinking about that. So your mind become more cool, very calm, no burning. And what you need to see is simply the in-breath and out-breath. It is not agitating you. So it's a very calm, relaxed experience. So your mind is getting a fair amount of relaxation during the meditation time. So it can give you a very good sleep. So that is one way, because mind is already very attentive and less distractions, so you can have a very good sleep, undisturbed sleep. That is one thing. On the other hand, even though sometimes you are not able to have a good sleep, still you might not feel much tired, because during the daytime you are still maintaining certain amount of relaxation. And on the other hand, but for the Vipassana yogis, on the other hand, there could be certain disturbances, because their attention is very sharp, mindfulness is very sharp. Even the slightest thing can make you wake up, and you might be difficult for you to again go to sleep unless you do completely emptying your mind. Because even the slightest thing, maybe a little burden in your mind, could make you awake. Because mind is becoming very, very sensitive and you have to have a very good ability to unload everything in your mind before you go to bed. So don't go to bed with lot of things, stuff in your head. Then it's very difficult for you to sleep as you are moving forward. So try as much as possible to unload everything, give up everything. End of the day, zero balance. Then you can have a nice sleep. Even with the slightest sound, you may wake up. Sorry about it. So I can hear even the people groaning at night. So I get wake up. So sorry about it. So I sometimes walk around and again try. I have this problem for a long time. While I was in Myanmar, I got blamed for changing the kutis. So in Panditarama, they have a tight schedule and they allocate the rooms, huts. But unfortunately, when the next door person is groaning, I can't sleep. So I again went and asked for a new place which is somewhat secluded. So they refused and again asked, again refused. Have to struggle a lot to get a secluded place. So sorry about that. I suffer a lot from this. So even the slightest thing is really disturbing. Very difficult to sleep. So that's why being at Nissarana is a blessing. No sounds, no light, complete darkness is there. Unlikely that you get in the city. That we need all the facilities everywhere, lights and this and that, and all the music. Unfortunately, can't sleep. Is your question? No, right?
Dilhara has another job now. Next time when she's attaching people next to your kuti, she will have to ask whether they are soft sleepers.
No, it may be available to others as well. It is not only for me. Because as you are moving, you become more sensitive. Even the slightest thing make you awake. And maybe even a defilement can make you awake. And even little disturbance make you awake. So, it's emptying your mind becomes more and more a must. Once you are somewhat familiar with it and once the mind get used to it. So, without, stuffed mind, you can't sleep.
Report number 4. My first day of meditation started as a result of having 2 friends of mine who went into meditation retreats in Kandy and in the USA. Both these places restricted verbal communication. I find it is not difficult to not verbally communicate with others for a day / few days, but to concentrate whilst meditating, seated / walking, I would prefer more silence. For newcomers, perhaps there should be more live preaching and audio tapes. But the facilities and comforts are to be appreciated. I hope to attend an extended meditation retreat in the future.
I think there is no question and... sorry? Yeah.
It's the report, but when they give, I have to read it out.
Yeah.
This is report number 5. Most Venerable Bhante, I have been practicing mindfulness meditation, Anapanasati, for more than 10 years now. I had a very busy time during last month, which I could not spend much time on sitting meditation. However, I made it a point to sit in the morning session every day. Normally, I listen to most of the Dhamma Deshana sessions done by Nissarana monks, but could not do that either during last month. Though I continued the morning sitting, I felt the time duration in each sitting was reducing, and now I can sit only for about half an hour. However, during day-to-day, though I had more work, I was mindful. That again, at times, my peace of mind went out of control, but realized that I am not peaceful as before. This is not the first time this change happened. looking for your guidance as this is a recurring habit.
Yeah, I think try to have non-proliferating mind as much as possible. So this is difficult. The thing is that it is not really the work that makes us really distracted, really agitated. But with respect to work or related to work, we start thinking too much. That's a real burden to the mind. So you are doing the work, it's done. That's for done. Don't think about it further. Now say for example, now you are mentioning, last time someone was mentioning about the dana, alms giving. So it is, during the alms giving time, you can simply do your part and offer it and done. So why are we thinking too much about it? After coming back home, we are still thinking. Then again you are calling the friend. So you are again planning the next year. So many things are there. So all that afterward work, if you can stop, whatever done is well and done, that's all. Keep the mind very relaxed. Actually, I can remember when I started preaching, and I found it's very difficult because I have to prepare the notes, some facts to properly deliver, and then kind of a planning is there. And after the session, after the preaching, then again after coming back to the kuti, then how I have delivered that, how well I have done that, what was the response from the others, how good I could have done that better. Likewise, many further thoughts are there. So it took some time for me to discard all that and just do the job, that's all, and not having any second thought. So once it is done, that's all, without having a second thought, without having a kind of a ongoing overthinking about whatever the task that you have done. So if you are able to come to a situation where you can stop too much thinking, you are able to stop overthinking, then most of your burden could be fairly reduced. I can guarantee maybe about more than 50% of your suffering will be reduced. Not a less amount, more than 50% of your suffering would be reduced simply by keeping your mind fairly silent. It is not that you got solutions for everything. Problems may be there, but your mind is not talking. Your mind is not complaining. Your mind is not overthinking. And when the question comes, you have a solution and you give it. And if it is possible for you to contribute, yes, you are contributing. If you can't do it, you are telling, I am sorry, I can't do it, that's all. But not regretting, not planning, and just attending to the task impromptu as much as possible and for the best of your ability, and well done, that's all. And not too much thinking. So this is a very important, guideline. So that's why Buddha again and again repeatedly mentioned, Nippapancharamassayan dhammo, nayan dhammo papancharamassa papancharato. So this dhamma is for the person who loves non-proliferating tendency in the mind, not for the person who loves or who attached to proliferation. So proliferation is such a burden, that is the one aggravating the situation. And try your best. Once you participated to a retreat, build up that non-proliferating state where you can maintain your mind fairly peaceful, very calm, at least some periods without any thoughts, complete absence of thoughts. Try to somewhat be familiar with that state. Then your mind slowly find out its beauty, a beauty of the silent mind, and enjoy that, encourage that. Just be silent, just be quiet, no inner chatter. Just a complete peacefulness available in the mind. It doesn't mean that the outside is completely peaceful. Outside may be kind of a chaotic, but inside you are maintaining kind of peace. So that peace, if you can maintain while you are working, say you have mentioned that you had a lot of work. So how about while working, maintaining a silent mind? So it may be difficult while talking and attending to some, brainy work, but there may be other activities like, say, you are doing your typical day's work. So you are attending to your homework, you are washing clothes or washing dishes, whatever it is. So all these does not require for you to put a lot of your brain, You can simply maintain a peaceful mind, kind of a silent mind. So if you are able to try that, then slowly you will understand, okay, I am maintaining my attention, or I am maintaining this, whatever I have gained through the practice, without letting it go or without letting it deteriorate. So then you will find out, okay, now mind has a tendency to calm down. Even though you haven't practiced as before. Previously, say you have practiced several hours. But now you are more and more trying this as a kind of a daily routine, as a motto. Keep the mind very silent as much as possible, free from proliferation. But you couldn't involve much about the typical schedule, not the 3 hours. Now you could only sit for 2 hours, maybe for 1 hour. But still you are maintaining your ability because you are supporting yourself by not proliferating. So this is very important. So therefore don't think that every day, every year, till the death, we have to follow a strict schedule. It is not the case. So as we follow, as we continue, so all these skills have to be internalized. And amidst all these difficulties, if we are able to calm down quickly, say for example, say someone is blaming you, someone has hinted, neglected. How long are you thinking about it? 1 day? 4 hours? 1 hour? 1 minute? I'm asking a very, a strict case. Not a just ignorance, not just ignoring, but a fairly strong one. Not given you the chance when it is your chance. Say in a meeting you are being cut off completely. So are you able to just calm down quickly? At that moment you get really burst out. True, accepted. But how quickly you can cool down? Don't think that you should be able to stop even, getting agitated or getting angry. That is not you can get angry, definitely. But how quickly can you cool yourself? So if you are able to cool down very quickly, without too much thinking, then that's a blessing. So don't think about that you can completely stop getting angry or you can completely stop getting lustful. Both sides are there. Say you encounter some kind of a lustful situation. You can get on to lust, but how quickly you can calm down? Similarly, you can get on to a peak of due to the situation, you can get peak to your anger. How quickly you can calm down? So these are very extreme cases that you can test yourself. So you can thank others for giving you that opportunity to test yourself. How quickly I can calm down without maintaining that grudge or that lust or whatever it is. How about coming back to that normalcy? Probably you can remember the Buddha's words in the Indriya Bhavana Sutta. So when through the eyes, once you get to a kind of a elation, kind of an elated state, how quickly can you come down to the middle state? Because of your sight, once you completely depressed, completely collapse, maybe got really angry, how quickly can you return back to the middle range? So Buddha's, we can say measure, or Buddha's target, split blink of eye. So you can see as a teacher what a kind of a challenge he has given us. Within a blink of eye, if we are able to return to the normalcy, we're done. But at least not a blink of eye, at least say within an hour, at least within 5 minutes. Not overthinking. These are the areas that we can really improve ourselves. It is not during the sitting that you can maintain now for a long time, but how quickly during the day's time, during your typical activities, daily routines, how quickly you can calm down, how quickly you can maintain that equanimity in your mind. where you are not getting agitated and you are not getting excited, elated, depressed, rather maintaining that soft, very calm, relaxed, peaceful state of mind. So that is the healthy state of mind. Yeah, that's all. So that's all we have received the question. So, we have about 20 minutes. If you like, you can participate in the discussion.
Yes. Please raise your hands. It's your time.
So all are calm down. No second thoughts.
Just on these agitated, it's okay,
go ahead.
What you said, just agitated, you get agitated and all that. Sometimes what happens is, when it happens from a very close person, because is it because of your expectation?
Yeah,
it's difficult. With
definitely.
Others, it's all right.
Definitely. Because we think, okay, he or she is mine, she is my close relation, she is my son, she is my daughter, she is my fiance, whatever it is. So if they do even a slightest thing, you hurt a lot. So nothing because, nothing other than too much attachment. You are fairly dependent on him. Even a slightest change in him that makes you really agitated. So, these are lessons in a way. So, in one sense, we can understand how dependent I am. So, even their slightest change, increasingly affects us. On the other hand, so how much affection or how much kind of an attachment I have with that person. So, what much kind of an expectation I am having. And on the other hand, now, say it's a kind of a motherly love. So are we doing our motherly love expecting something, or are we simply giving up? I'm basically giving up. Okay, whatever the way, it doesn't mean that you can do whatever the thing. Rather, kind of opening up yourself. Your heart has a lot of space. Even though the mistakes are happening in the other party, you are able to accept, you are able to forgive without sort of blaming too much or without cursing and all that. So how your heart is open even to accept someone else's fault. Because we all are human beings. We can never achieve the complete perfection. Everyone can make mistakes. And sometimes on the other hand, what I found is, sometimes I make judgments. It already hurt me. And later I found they also had a valid reason to act like that. Say, for example, I asked someone to do something, and they didn't care about it. So it's a kind of an insult for me, so I get hurt. And then probably I find out, okay, they had something important and something other, and maybe at another occasion they are also telling, not because I asked, but they are telling, I was doing this and that and this thing. And so I couldn't attend to that. So, it's a kind of a valid excuse also. So likewise, because of we are fair amount of judgment is there. So that judgment makes things worse. And sometimes it is kind of an unreasonable judgment and a kind of a biased judgment with that what we do. And if we are somewhat, without jumping to conclusions, if we can simply, step back. Now say, for example, due to that judgment, I immediately immediately bashed the person. Then things get worse. The whole relationship collapse. Because you are not patient and you quickly judge the other person and you thought that he is entirely wrong. He hurt me and all that, this and that. Immediately you cut off the person. Then the relationship ends. On the other hand, now if you are, yes, you have hurt, you have seen the change, you have seen that he is ignoring or whatever thing, he hasn't done the job, but wait and see why it hasn't done. So then there may be slowly, within a day or two, you can understand, okay, this is the real situation, so he couldn't attend to that due to that. So likewise, there may be a valid reason. Now slowly adjust to yourself. Again moving up. So likewise, I think because now I am doing a lot of administrative things at Nissarana, so many things are there like that. So I can get into easily quick judgments, and sometimes it hurts and it becomes a kind of burden. So, I mean, rather than meditating, I am learning through these now. So because many different characters are there. I mean, you can't expect all the monks to be perfect and they are, ready to accept all your advices and behave in the perfect way, and all are very, very kind and all that. No. Different characters are there. Now actually, during my day life, I didn't find out that kind of a situation. Yeah, of course. Because in the lay life, what the crowd I have to associate are fairly kind of matured people, and they are that's a kind of a very selected group we have associated, and we had the opportunity to cut off the others. That's quite easy. Now, say when you are selecting your close associates, so who are you selecting? That is the like-minded people. Typically, the like-minded people. So you can simply go with them without much trouble. And when we are interviewing, or when we are starting a relationship, or when we are putting them into your inner circle, so you select and put them. But in a monastery situation, no excuse. Different characters are there. All different characters are there. Especially monks are, they are the ones who going against the typical system. No, they are not the easygoing ones, or rather, how to say? Now, they are against the grain, basically. Now that is why they become a monk, no? Because the typical situation is that they get into the normal life routine, and they start a job, they get married, raise children, and that's the typical routine. So when that opportunity is there, why someone is cutting off and coming to a monkhood? It's a radical decision. So the monks are the most difficult characters in that sense. They are giving a really hard time on some occasions. They don't want to accept something, and they also have their own valid reasons. They all have their own arguments. And so likewise, many things are there. So, I mean, all these things are really interesting situations. So, and these are, in a way, during your life, you may get all these challenges. So, learn from that. So, I am also learning from that. So, it's a very good opportunity for us to go through all that, and without... So, that's why I said, end of the day, amidst all these challenges, if you are able to maintain an empty mind, very good. Very difficult, very challenging. I can remember actually when all that, some time back, I couldn't empty the mind at the end of the day. So I just walk around here and there in the monastery, just releasing the stuff. Because when someone ignore, when someone disrespect, or when say Bhante Dhammajiva said something, or many things are there. He also plays this and that. So sometimes hurts a lot, get angry a lot, and blaming and this thing, and all that is there. I am going here and there, round and round. It took hours to empty. Many hours to empty the mind. Very, very difficult. But that emptying time has to be reduced. So that is a growth. Can't hear. How you empty the mind?
Yes.
You take a spoon and remove. So allow it to come, don't proliferate. So that's what we are doing in the walking path. So during the walking path, so many thoughts are coming. Now someone has mentioned that, as the early report. So many thoughts are coming. Don't struggle with the thoughts right now, because you are somewhat not enough mindfulness there at that time. So at that level you can actually put your attention to the body and the steps and all that. That would help. On the other hand, once you are confident, you can confront the thoughts. So thoughts are there, why anger is coming, lust is coming, jealousy is coming, arguments are coming, measurements, that is conceit is coming. Say when conceit comes, for example, so I am better than him, I am elder than him, I am a senior than him. So like that the conceit can come. So how are we able to calm down, relax, keep it aside? So all are real the lifetime situations, examples that we can work out. Now otherwise how are we going to refine ourselves? We can't expect everything to happen on the cushion. So if we are expecting all the defilements to cleanse, purify on the cushion, it will not happen. Guaranteed. Not going to happen. So all the challenges are in that sense difficult, by the way. Extremely difficult. So Bhante Dhammajiva used to say a kind of an example, that when we consider a stone, if it simply rests while the water is flowing, ultimately what happened to it? Sometimes it may get algae and all that get have a kind of a surface. But if it is possible to roll, and as the stream is flowing, then it's slowly cutting off, and ultimately it even become more and more round, like a ball. That means everything is all the edges, glitches, and all that are gone. Something like that. So we are also something like that. So we have to go through all these difficult situations. We have to navigate through, and then only the refinement happens. So that's what I understood. So even though, say, whatever the department or institute or your home environment or office or whatever it is where you are working, this practice has to help you to continue that amidst all those challenges. Because sometimes, probably Leelamani can be a good example to me that, during the nuns' retreats, and sometimes they are simply saying, Bhante, I just want to live alone. I don't want to go to any monastery. Because they are troublemaking, and I just want to live alone. You can't proceed. Can't proceed because you have a certain amount of now mindfulness, certain amount of samadhi, but defilements are hidden. Simply they are hidden. They are not coming out. So you are spending hours in the sitting, developing samadhi, maybe attain some kind of a jhana, and all the defilements are stuffed inside. You don't know the real state of your mind. But when you are with a group, you are quite susceptible. Because many different characters are there. So they can agitate you easily. They can press the buttons. So there you can understand, oh, I am not an anagami. That's very sure. Otherwise, living alone for several years, you easily can become an anagami. Definitely, yeah.
And maybe official things, I was stressed out. I used to get stressed out, but I could absorb a lot. But I realized, because as we mature, we know our personalities, that I stress out very fast. I get annoyed very fast. And I realize more and more, I want to be alone. I like when no one is around. And so maybe people might take it as I become antisocial with my friends, family. And it's not that I don't like worldly things. I'm very much a worldly person. But is it...
No,
But
two
Master,
sides are there. Actually, two sides are there. I am not telling you to just continue to associate all the different characters. That's a different thing. You know what we call as Sanganika Ramata. Actually, we can talk this today, even during the Dhamma sermon. There is a kind of a tendency as we develop mindfulness, as we develop Vipassana, there's an inner urge coming for you to ask to become, maintain some seclusion. So that is accepted and that is very, very good, and you need to give that. So, certain amount of your inner circle, whatever the people that you are associating, start dropping. And you start maybe admitting some others, and now you have a different inner circle. And some spiritually geared people, and they can actually associate really well. At the same time, they can live alone without much trouble. And Buddha encouraged living alone. So don't think that I am encouraging that you have to always associate others, but rather the thing is that the situation is we should be able to be with the group without a friction, and we should be able to leave the group and live alone again without a friction. So we have to have a completely kind of a private time, no associations, just you are alone, but very peaceful. Don't ask for any kind of a call or email or whatever the thing. Being alone is a blessing. On the other hand, be with the group also and see whether you are able to maintain yourself and you are relaxed, and others are, even though they are disturbing or doing different things, are you able to maintain that seclusion in you? So that is the interesting thing. So say for example in the Kaggavisana Sutta, entirely on living alone. Eko chare Kaggavisana kappu. Eko chare Kaggavisana kappu. Probably you have heard about this phrase. Like the rhinoceros horn, live alone. Like the rhinoceros horn. Because rhinoceros has just single horn, a very strong one, unlike the other animals. And so Buddha takes that as a simile and he encourages, okay, live alone. But it doesn't mean that you can't live with the group. You can't live with the society, or you can't live with the others. You can completely, even more than others, you can live in a harmonious manner with the group. So that's the thing. And so therefore, we should be, internally you are alone, even though you are in a group. Something like that. So you may feel it. You may start feeling it. Okay, I can simply close my eyes. I have no much thoughts. So like that, many interesting things are there. Actually, nowadays we are at Nissarana. We have taken that Baddekaratta Sutta for the discussion in the Tuesdays. It talks about this ideal solitude. It's a kind of Badda Ekaratta. So the noble ideal solitude. So it's a kind of a noble thing. So the typical thing is our mind is tend to attach with many things. So you want to have your children around you, you want to have your husband close to you, you want to have your wife close to you, you want to have your relations close to you. So you need that kind of an attachment. So that is the typical tendency in the mind. But the other side is you hate them. That's also another situation. That is also not the correct thing. But so this is in a way a kind of different mental attitude. So you can be with them without much trouble, but you still have the capacity, without thinking about any of them, you can be completely peaceful within yourself, and you being alone. Being alone, but still not feeling lonely. There's a song talking about the loneliness, right? So you can't sing that, even though you are alone. Can't hear. Book? Actually, today I could have asked Amil to carry it. That book is called Uttaritara Hudakalawa, the Sinhala one. We'll ask Amil to deliver if possible. I forgot. Actually, we also got only 30 copies or something at Nissarana. We'll try to get some more here. It's a small book, by the way. It's not a large one. Okay, if there is no any other question, then we almost covered somehow 1 hour. So we'll wind up the session and we'll have the Dhamma sermon at 4 p.m. Thank you for the participation.